This is the ABC 10 News Streamline. Everything you need to know for today in under 10 minutes. ICE facilities across the country are now ramping up security after the deadly shooting at an immigration facility in Texas. One detainee was killed, 2 others were injured. Authorities believe the gunman, 29-year-old Joshua John, specifically targeted that office. Investigators found ammunition at the scene. One casing had the words "anti-ICE" written on it. John was found dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. While some people are calling this an act of political violence, his childhood friends tell ABC News John was not overly political when he was young, saying he was mostly interested in video games. And we've been covering how ICE operates in San Diego. The local field office is in the same building where detainees report for immigration court. Before or after their hearing, they're held at the Otay Mesa Detention Center. ABC 10 News was there when Congressman Scott Peters and Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs spent more than an hour touring that facility. This was back in July. The visit was part of their congressional oversight duties, examining the holding facilities, the cafeteria, the medical areas. Both representatives went in with a critical eye about the immigration policies of the Trump administration, but they said this about their experiences.
I didn't see any particular problems with this facility. That doesn't mean I'm happy at all with the Trump administration, what they're doing.
We have some questions that we're waiting on follow-up, that they had to get some more information to us. But in general, I would say that the level of transparency was sufficient.
ICE officials tell us that they welcome these kinds of visits and they value ongoing dialogue with the congressional delegation.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle.
Yeah, a broken escalator got quite a rise out of President Trump on Tuesday. While visiting the United Nations, the president and first lady got on this escalator, which then stopped the moment they stepped on it. They had to walk up the steps. The president called it sabotage on Truth Social and said the people who did it should be arrested. Now, the UN says that a videographer from the president's delegation who was ahead of him likely triggered a security shutoff when he stepped back onto the escalator after reaching the top. The president also cited issues with the teleprompter and the audio during his speech. He says it was a triple sabotage. The White House Budget Office is now threatening permanent mass firings if the government shuts down next week. The deadline for Congress to pass a funding bill is September 30th. Republicans and Democrats are in gridlock. The sticking point is mainly health insurance premiums. Republicans want to pass a short-term bill to fund the government through November 30th with everything just as it is. Democrats, though, say they won't back a deal without reversing some of the Medicaid cuts that were put in during July's One Big Beautiful Bill. Former FBI Director James Comey could soon face federal charges. Sources tell ABC News the Justice Department is preparing to ask a grand jury to indict the former FBI director for perjury. The claims stem from Comey's testimony to Congress in 2020 about his investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Comey says he was telling the truth in his testimony. The statute of limitations for an indictment against him on this runs out next Tuesday. The first lawsuit has been filed demanding accountability for January's mid-air crash in Washington, D.C. 67 people died when a passenger plane collided with an Army helicopter near Reagan National Airport. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of one of the victims, Daley Crafton. It claims American and the regional carrier operating the flight, along with the FAA and the Army, were negligent. The lawsuit claims airlines knew about the close call dangers involving helicopter routes and failed to warn pilots. It also says the FAA and air traffic control didn't train or warn pilots about the known dangers. The Army's not commenting on the lawsuit. The FAA says since the crash, it has changed takeoff procedures around the airport. This lawsuit could take up to 3 years to play out in court. A preliminary report from the FAA says engine trouble caused a small plane to crash in Fallbrook earlier this month. The single-engine Cessna crashed while trying to land at the Fallbrook Community Air Park. It wound up upside down in an embankment near South Mission Road and Stagecoach Lane. The 72-year-old pilot walked away from the crash with minor injuries. He declined medical treatment. The FAA and NTSB are now investigating. Now to your consumer news. Next week marks 6 months since new auto tariffs took effect, impacting the price of cars, of parts, and repairs. Scripps News Group's John Matarese looks at the high cost now of routine maintenance and what you can do to keep those costs in check.
When it comes to car maintenance and repair, consumers are getting no slack these days. With prices on parts and labor continuing to rise, a lot of drivers say they could no longer afford a big repair.
Judy Johnston's car has an oil leak, but she says she's passing on a pricey repair.
It's too much, way too much.
In a recent survey by Finance Buzz, more than half of drivers say they'd be unable to pay for a $1,000 repair. That's a dangerous gap when the average repair is $838, according to Kelley Blue Book.
A mildly bumped into front end, you can have a $3,500 estimate on it.
Once a cheap and easy fix, auto mechanic Russell Brumley filled us in on the cost of a bumper repair.
A lot of sensors and wiring goes in the bumper.
The bumper itself,
Get up into the over $1,000 range, very easy.
now add in the sensors.
Some blind spot sensors, I had one on one particular vehicle, was $1,600.
Fred Padgett with Bosch Automotive Aftermarket says you might be able to save by purchasing parts yourself, but Padgett warns against buying cheap aftermarket parts. He suggests original equipment manufacturer parts, which are meant to be identical to what the car came with.
Because then you know that that part you're buying is the same quality as the part that came on the car when it was built.
To save on car repairs, ask your shop about coupons or discounts. Use an auto parts store for something like a battery replacement. And don't skip regular maintenance. With a little help from YouTube, Padgett says some routine maintenance can be done at home, like oil changes and changing your transmission fluid. Brumley says his shop is seeing higher prices.
And parts sometimes get hard to get a hold of.
So handle repairs before they snowball into something worse, so you don't waste your money. John Matteries, Scripps News Group.
New Yorkers are about to hear a new voice on the subway. The agency that runs the subway system announced rapper Cardi B has recorded some rider etiquette and safety PSAs. On social media, the agency shared a video of Cardi B urging passengers to follow the rules, telling them to ride safe, keep it cute, and keep it moving. No word yet on when those new messages will start playing. And Rihanna has welcomed baby number 3 with her partner A$AP Rocky. Rocky Irish Mayers was born September 13th. Rihanna posted a picture with the new baby on her official Instagram page on Wednesday. It's the couple's first girl. They also have 2 boys named RZA and Riot. Congrats to them. That's your 10 News Streamline. Everything you need to know today in under 10 minutes.